Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, one and all. I've got my go-go juice, Patrice, so I'm all set for the next 2 hours of this jam-packed
Is that mushroom
Friday. Coffee? No. This is coffee, albeit with my sugar-free sweeteners in it, because that's how I roll. It is 7:07 on a Friday on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. I'm Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor today, sadly, my last day in for Larry. He will be back on Monday along with Julie Gunlock. I know you gwine enjoy it thoroughly. Joining me right now, my colleague. I am honored to call her a respected colleague. Her name is Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
We made it.
You know, what I love about this is during the breaks, Patrice and I are talking shop about the wonderful regulatory work that she and I are both doing, and she's got great suggestions, and she's reminding me of things, and I'm having moments of panic as she's telling me stuff. Listen, we got later on in the show, Robert Malone's joining us to talk about the RFK hearing. We're going to talk about that this hour too. We got Allie Hopper. She's a journalist about this 30,000 kids found, still missing another 270,000. And in this hour, later on in this hour, my colleague, other esteemed colleague, Matt Schlapp, the chairman of CPAC, joining us to talk about what's going on in the world. But joining us right now, someone who I know is very interested in the way the federal government works and what we can do to rein it in. His name is Stewart Whitson. He is running for Congress in this special election. Oh my God, Stewart! It's Tuesday. Can you believe it? It's happening on Tuesday. Are you all set? What's going on this weekend, Stewart?
Well, hey, good morning, Andrew and Patrice. Great to be with you too. Yeah, so you said it. The election is this Tuesday, September 9th. And what does that mean? That means we only have 3 days left to vote. So today, all day tomorrow on Saturday, and then Tuesday.
Wow.
So that's it.
Oh,
and so
boy.
we are in the final stretches. It's exciting.
That's good. So what are you hearing as you walk around? Because we know, Patrice, that elections are won nowadays by when you're out walking, by wearing out your shoe leather. We know Stewart's been wearing out the shoe leather on this. What are you hearing from the voters in Virginia's 11th?
Yeah, and not just me wearing out my shoe leather, but all our army of volunteers and my wife and our kids. And so it's been great. But it's the bread and butter issues, right? So people want to be safe. They want lower taxes. They want to be empowered as parents in our schools. And so all this nonsense that's going on, everything from crime to the nonsense going on in our public schools and elsewhere, these are big issues to them. And so they're looking for someone who will fight for them and fight for our families. And so it's a great time.
So your opponent, James Walkinsaw, he doesn't seem to be on board with those bread and butter basic public issues like public safety. I mean, how hard is it for him to be able to stand up for law enforcement against illegal immigrants who are particularly criminals in the district continuing not to be arrested? I mean, what's his position? What's his craziest position when it comes to public safety?
I mean, it's hard to pick one, Patrice, but honestly, that's like every single one of these issues, he's on the wrong side. And so starting with public safety, this is a guy that when we were short 200 law enforcement officers in Fairfax County, what did he do? He voted to give himself a pay raise.
Wow.
Oh.
I mean, this is a guy, he literally has taken positions in the Fairfax County Police Department and transformed them from uniformed officers that carry guns and keep us safe. He's transformed those positions into bureaucratic positions.
Wow.
Creating new opportunities for his supporters. Sanctuary policy. So this is a guy when, during the Biden administration, we had a wide open border. We had drugs, fentanyl, violent gangs, pedophiles, rapists flooding across the border. And what did he do? He pushed a sanctuary policy in Fairfax County that kept Fairfax County employees from cooperating with ICE to remove dangerous criminals. And so what's all the result of all that? It's exactly what you'd expect. It's crime hitting our population. Our legal immigrants are getting hit the hardest. And so they want someone who will stand up and fight against this.
And remember, folks, if Fairfax County is short 200 police officers, that is 400,000 hours of annual police work that either doesn't get done or has to get done by other police officers. Let me ask you this, Stuart. We got this story, this elderly white hippie, a woman named Doris Ann Sprague Evans, a Moms Demand member, a white liberal woman of Fairfax, the Fairfax Democratic Party, apparently
a Grand
Tifa allegedly stealing your campaign signs. Have you seen this? You getting any reports on this, Stuart?
Yeah, I did see that. And that is literally the perfect example of their obsession with silencing opposition, isn't it? And so it's not enough for people on the left to be heard, but they demand that you agree with everything they say. And if you don't agree, then you need to be quiet. You need to be silent. And so it doesn't surprise me that she sees my yard signs, which, by the way, are scattered everywhere across the district. And she sees those signs and she feels threatened by those because it's truth. Yeah. I'm not afraid to speak up, to go on the left-wing media and to take them head on. And they see me as a threat, so it doesn't surprise me for a second that they're trying to remove my signs.
We're talking with Stewart Whitson. He's running for election in the special election in Virginia's 11th congressional district. The special election being held Tuesday. Of course, early voting continues through the weekend, but not on Monday. Stewart, what should folks be doing this weekend to prepare for the special election? What should they be doing if they want to help you out?
Well, so the number one thing is we're going to have our final Super Saturday door knocking event tomorrow. So people should check that out. Follow us on social media, and you'll get the time and location. But please come to that. Help us with that. But the most important thing is you got to go vote. And so that's the key. Is this is a race we can win. Yeah. We haven't been able to win in 16 years, but the dynamics of the special election make it so that we can. And all we have to do to win is show up and vote. That's it. And our numbers are looking good in early voting, but we need to continue full steam ahead. We need every single Republican who's listening to this. You have to go vote today. And if you can't, you have to go vote tomorrow. You have all day tomorrow, Saturday, and there's several locations. You have to find one of those and go vote so we can take back this seat.
Yeah, listen, the stakes couldn't be more clear. On the one hand, you have the Democrats who have they are defending criminals, they're defending illegal immigration, they are defending our enemies abroad, whereas you have the Republicans there who are standing for the American people, standing for small business, standing for the working families who are out there. Stewart, listen, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, Stewart Whitson, go check it out. You have the special. I mean, Patrice.
Yes.
These special elections, they are winnable, aren't they? I mean, they
are. And listen, we need another seat in the House right now, so it would be great for it to come from Virginia.
And it would be stunning to the momentum of how this happens if we could take Jerry Connolly's seat. That would be be an amazing thing. Listen, we've got so much more to get to on the show today, but first, it is 7:15 a.m.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
So, Patrice, we got lots going on the show today. Going to be joined in a little bit by Dr. Robert Malone, who is obviously a very, very well-known doctor. He's doing a lot of work with the government. He's on this advisory panel. He's going to be joining us at 8:05 to talk about this hearing yesterday. And as I said earlier, I could literally spend all show talking about yesterday's hearing. Crazy go nuts hearing. And it's one of those things, again, where we are talking about the stark contrast. The Democrats are claiming that they are the party of science, that we got to follow the science. But when the science goes where they don't like it, they push back on this. I love this. Senator Roger Marshall on this vaccine policy. Actually, let me go here. Down here, talking about the issue of science and when Democrats don't like science. Here is, in cut number 22, which we're about to play, RFK is talking about a story about a CDC chief scientist who was forced to bury a report on vaccines. Let's go ahead, Michael, and play cut 22.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell you one example, and I could sit here and give you thousands. But in 2002, CDC did an internal study of Atlanta and Fulton County, Georgia children, and looked at children who got the MMR vaccine on time and compared those to kids who got them later. So in other words, kids who got them before 36 months and kids who got them afterward. The data from that study showed that black boys who got the vaccine on time had a 260% greater chance of getting an autism diagnosis than children who waited. The chief scientist on that, Dr. William Thompson, the senior vaccine safety scientist at CDC, was ordered to come into a room with 4 other co-authors by his boss, Frank DiStefano, who's the head of the immunization safety branch, and ordered to destroy that data. And then they published it without that fact.
But and that's the damning part of all this. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to have this full and open accounting, right? And I don't know where this is going to go, and I shouldn't know where it's going to go. I shouldn't have a preconceived notion of this. What we should do is allow the science to speak for itself. I think you would agree with this, Patrice, especially given the work that we're both doing on regulatory policy.
Well, and given the fact that I have 3 boys, 3 black boys, and so to know that potentially the vaccines, taking them on time, or you have the kids receiving them on time, could potentially expose them to other downside effects. I mean, this is information that parents should know, that pediatricians should know, right, to be able to have open and frank conversations with their kids, which is why I think so many parents have lost trust, right, in the CDC, lost trust in a lot of these public health officials who will bury important critical information. I mean, it's important to know that specific demographics can be impacted negatively. Right. Why hide that?
100%. It's something that I learned at an early age, right? The higher prevalence of sickle cell anemia amongst African Americans, and I know this because there was somebody in my 3rd and 4th grade class who had sickle cell anemia. But it gets to this idea of when you are a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So when you're at the CDC or HHS, you're looking at things within one framework of doing things, whereas we need to look at the comparative risks associated with doing things versus not doing things. Here's Senator Roger Marshall, who is a physician. He is pointing out the number of immunizations that a child gets before the age of 18. Let's play cut 21.
This is the current CDC recommendations for vaccines for children. On day number 1, they get their first jab, a hepatitis vaccine. By the time they're 18 months, they've had 18 jabs. By the time they get to be able to vote, they have 76 jabs.
Wow. And let me tell you something. As someone who had and still has to an extent a certain fear of needles and blood, this is not a good thing. Also, RFK was asked about why he's firing people. Let's play cut 23.
And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single-payer Obamacare or the various ways of allocate the health dollars, they're all like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at the CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Patrice, your thoughts here.
He's right. We are sicker, not healthier. With more vaccines, with more access to medications, yes, we're living longer, but are we living longer in a healthy way? And it brings in, I understand the MAHA movement, which is saying, what we're ingesting, what we're putting into our bodies, whether orally or through vaccines, and, it's having an impact on us. And by the way, just to that previous clip with Senator Marshall about the 76 shots. Folks, you need to go back. I'll share it on my X at Patrice Pink File. He blew up this chart. Yeah. You have to see the visual image of 76 shots that a child gets until they become 18 years old, and it does make you wonder, What do the kids need all of them? For example, I'm not a huge HPV vaccine person, because that's suggesting you're engaging in a lot of behavior that a 9-year-old shouldn't be. You know what I mean? So there is nothing wrong with us questioning and asking these questions. And finally, we have somebody willing to say that at HHS.
Right. Absolutely. What is actually happening with our kids' health? Listen, we got Robert Malone. We're going to talk to him about this at 8:05. So much more to get to at 7:23 on WMAL. Listen, we got this special election brewing in Northern Virginia, in Virginia's 11th congressional district. We got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testifying up on Capitol Hill. Going to be talking with Matt Schlapp, the chairman of CPAC, about everything that's going on in the world. Plus, State Department official convicted of selling secrets to China at 7:30 on WMAL.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, one and all. It is 7:37 here on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor today, sitting alongside Patrice Onwuka, who is calling the shots. She is calling the tunes this morning here on WMAL. Good morning, Patrice.
That's right. A little bit of a Janet, and don't worry, we've got MJ in the roundup too. It's a happy Friday to one and all.
MJ, we got Janet Jackson, we got, hopefully we'll play Can You Feel It by the Jacksons later on. Speaking of later on, we got Dr. Robert Malone joining us in the next hour to talk about the RFK Jr. hearing. And then Allie Hopper, citizen journalist Allie Hopper, about the 30,000 children found. The Biden administration wasn't even looking for them, Patrice. But joining us right now, our good buddy, my colleague, the chairman of CPAC, but most importantly, Mercy Schlapp's husband, Matt Schlapp, the chairman of of CPAC. Matt, listen, we got this situation. Tim Kaine. Well, let's start with Tim Kaine. I don't know if you've heard this. Matt? Have you heard Tim Kaine's comments about where rights come from?
It's kind of disgusting.
Yes. Well, listen. Let's. So, in case that folks hadn't heard this, let's play cut 25, Michael.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
Yeah, extremely troubling, Matt. By the way, I reached out to Tim Kaine's office for comment and heard absolutely nothing from them. But your thoughts here, Matt?
Before there was anything, there was the government. And that's what we keep forgetting, which is, the government existed and then, God decided to create man and the whole order around us. That's what these guys think, and it's really a scary thing. They really do believe that the foundations of our country, basically, I don't know what percentage it is, 100% probably of our founders understood that they were creating a government, right, in response to a king who was autocratic and making their lives miserable. And they understood that as they were coming together with all their own ideas on how a government would look, it started with what they had in common. And that was, by and large, their Christian religion and an understanding that there was a higher power, and he had created us with a certain order, including the ability to have free choice and such. And the fact that these Democrats, and Tim Kaine is a notoriously, a Catholic Democrat, the fact that Tim Kaine would flunk second grade catechesis tells you all you need to know.
Matt, I don't think he's smarter than a fifth grader.
I don't either.
Picking up on some of his Senate colleagues, yesterday we saw the explosive Senate Finance Committee hearing where Robert Kennedy Jr. Was being grilled by some of these members of Congress. And, the narratives that we heard is that he's a liar, or that he's changing his position, or that he wants Americans not to be healthy. He wants Americans to die, and that he's a denier of COVID facts and the COVID vaccine. I would love for you to just respond to the most outlandish thing you heard from yesterday's hearing.
Yeah, can I just say, Patrice, this is one of the reasons people have such a dim view of Congress. And it happens with both parties, with people that come before them, but it's become a show. These hearings are just shows. They're just moments where Elizabeth Warren and other people can, get a clip and put it on social media and try to pop and get followers. But there's really nothing substantive here. And I actually think that beneath all these fireworks is this really important fundamental question of what is scientific truth and who gets to decide how that truth is implemented from a health standpoint or a health regime in your own life. So the Tim Kaines of the world believe that we get truth from global organizations like the UN, and that at the end of the day, these parents who are teaching their kids that there's something called God who gives you your rights really are dangerous when they intervene between the child and the healthcare expert. And Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Robert Malone and the other people he's placing in important positions are eminent, smart people who are now challenging the whole structure of our healthcare system. And it might be the most important Trump legacy that we have because it's going to affect all of our lives.
So we're talking with Matt Schlapp. He's chairman of CPAC. Lots going on. You talk about globalism, Matt. CPAC doing a ton of stuff on the international stage. You have the big CPAC Gala coming up in November. You got the CPAC conference coming up at the end of March. Tell us all about the exciting things that CPAC is up to.
So I'm going to get on an airplane with my beautiful wife, a WMAL alumna, and we're going to fly to Madrid to speak to the Viva conference, and CPAC has a special relationship with the Viva conference, and we're going to have all the great conservative leaders throughout Europe. By the way, Europe is the global order in Europe is quickly crumbling in almost every country, and I think CPAC's playing an important role of similar to what Reagan did with the Iron Curtain, of just kind of pushing that wall over. I think the grip of globalism on Europe is beginning to crack, and you can see it everywhere, including in our home country of the UK, where Nigel Farage looks very promising to be the next PM in the UK. So we're going to Madrid. We're going to meet with all these conservative leaders. Then we're flying to CPAC in Paraguay, a small but very pro-American, anti-China country in South America, with a president there who's incredibly impressive, President Peña. And then we're off to CPAC in Australia, and which was always wonderful, and it has been very impactful, where the conservatives in Australia have really, you talk about Maha, they've really pushed back on some of the insanity we all read about during the COVID years, and they need a win. They need a big political win down there to change the course of their country. And then I'm going to take a nap, and then you're right, Andrew. We got to focus on America, because every country in the world is rooting for Donald Trump to succeed, because if he succeeds, they got a chance.
The website is cpac.org. Matt Schlapp, safe travels, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
Take care. We got more coming up at 7:44 here on WMAL.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
As we're sitting here and educating Patrice about Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because I made a Fast Times comment.
What a lesson
afterwards.
I'm learning.
Yes,
boy.
There you go. Yeah. So listen. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting caught up in the groove there, Michael. We got all kinds of stuff going on in the world. Less happy news. So big news. The State Department official was finally sentenced for selling secrets to China.
Oh my.
This is a thing. We cannot forget. Matt did talk about it, but Gordon Chang's doing a lot of work with CPAC, I should say. And CPAC has been pushing up against this. And we have to remember that China is pulling out all the stops. We were talking about, what was it, KT McFarland, was it yesterday, Heather? I mean, just yesterday talking to KT about China playing the long game in terms of burrowing into the United States. Michael Shana, a desk officer with the State Department's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs, pleaded guilty in June to conspiring to provide national defense secrets to a Chinese agents. I mean, this is it is just nuts. Go ahead, Patrice.
Yeah, I'm just reading through this reporting here. He was stationed in China for several months as a desk officer. He's also been stationed in the Caribbean, in Sri Lanka, in Qatar. I mean, this guy, he's been all over the place. And so he's certainly, I'm sure, gathered quite a lot of, intelligence that would be very that China would probably want to pay a high price for.
Sure.
But it's just a reminder, there's so many ways China wants to invade and infiltrate. I mean, sitting members of Congress are sleeping with Chinese spies or were sleeping with Chinese spies.
You remember,
we've got to be vigilant.
Patrice, you remember the story of oh good Lord, now I can't remember her name. The Maria Butina, the Russian agent who was trying to infiltrate conservative spheres. She was dating conservatives.
Yes.
If I were a conservative organization in Washington, D.C., I would be very worried about Chinese sleeper agents trying to influence policy in that regard. I would be very vigilant about that as well, because, again, China doesn't care who's in charge. China wants to undermine the United States so that they can become the dominant superpower. Last month, a federal jury convicted Wei Chin-chow, an active-duty Navy sailor stationed in San Diego, of spying and export violations. We were just talking about a certain member of Congress who was sleeping with a Chinese spy and still has not been appropriately dealt with. We need to be vigilant here. More to come on this. I'm Andrew Langer. She's Patrice Onwuka at 7:53 on O'Connor and Company WMAL.